Who do you like to win the Heisman? So, and you look at the top of the Heisman board, and Dylan Gabriel is taking a ton of money right now. He's the favorite. Carson Beck, second choice, and then a lot of other quarterbacks there at the top of the board. Sammy, I'll start with you because you had a really good Heisman play last year, and unfortunately, it didn't get there. And then I know we kicked around Bo Nix as well, and he was in position to win and ultimately didn't get there. What are you looking at here in the Heisman market?
Last year, I thought I had it cornered by November 15th. Yep. I had Penix and Nix, and I thought, all right, one of them's going to win. And then here comes Jaden Daniels to just rip it out of my heart. But I look at Jackson Dart this year. I look at a quarterback that threw for over 3,000 yards last year, 31 touchdowns total, most of those through the air. He had some on the ground, though. He's got like 3 NFL receivers, Bear, and he's got 4 offensive linemen that Lane Kiffin has slowly plopped into that line because that was really their weak spot the last 2-3 years, the O-line. Well, he's brought in 4 transfers to protect the quarterback and establish the running game. I also, guys, I look for Heisman moments. There's a game November 9th in Oxford. Georgia comes to Ole Miss. And I know Georgia's awesome, but Georgia's front is not as good as it's been in years past. And when your D-line doesn't have 2 NFL guys, your linebackers and your secondary are not as good. So all those things considered, Jackson Dart 14-1. You know, I hope nobody gives the favorite out. I saw this stat that the Heisman favorite has only won once in the last 9 years. So this is an award where you don't want to take Dylan Gabriel or Carson Beck.
I have made one bet here. I bet Jackson Dart, so I will go a different direction just for the because I agree with everything Sammy said, but just for the point of content, just to throw some sleepers out there. I think Milroe can have a big year. Remember last year that center killed him. Snaps at his feet, his ankles, over his head. DeBoer is going to open up the passing game. We know how good DeBoer is as an offensive coach, so Milroe is at least interesting. We want to get clicks. We want to get views. How about a bet that's not going to win, but at least, I don't know, you get a cash out or something? I'm not a Quentin Ewers guy. Is it possible we see Arch Manning if Ewers struggles early against Michigan? So if you want like a real dart shot, no pun intended, maybe Arch Manning, but I'm with Sammy. I think Jackson Dart, for all the reasons he mentioned, is a good one. I think there are other candidates in these other awards on Ole Miss, which we'll get to. Nice little tease, but Milroe, Dart, and then Arch Manning's at least interesting because I'm not a believer in Ewers.
Geoff, tell us why either Dylan Gabriel or Jordan James win the Heisman.
Look, I don't think Dylan Gabriel's winning the Heisman as much as I would love for that to happen. I think he will be in New York. I think we could wager, like, will you be in New York? I think he will. Bo Nix was in New York last year, right? I mean, Gabriel's going to put up the same numbers or around there. I think that Bo Nix had. I could see him being there, but I don't think he wins the award. I'm not sure he's dynamic enough to do so. You know, part of this is, you mentioned the Heisman moment, Sammy. A lot of those are with your legs, right? Can you make plays with your legs? Are you scrambling? You running downfield? And Gabriel can certainly do some of that, but not at the rate that some of these other quarterbacks. I really like the Milroe piece that Will mentioned, guys. Kalen DeBoer had Michael Penix, obviously, in New York last year as a runner-up. Milroe is a physically gifted quarterback that needs to work on this sort of the intermediate part of his game, right? He can throw short and throw deep. If you can get him a little bit better in the intermediate with his ability to run the football. There were times last year when he ran completely by defenses. I feel like Alabama's going to be good anyways. So I think Milroe's a good player. The other one that I think is not going to win, but like, could Travis Hunter at cornerback, kick returner, some wide receiver things, will he even be discussed at this, in November if Colorado's not as good as they think they can be? I mean, he might be the best overall player in college football this season. He's probably not going to be in New York for the Heisman ceremony, though.
Yeah, no, I kicked him around a couple weeks ago when I said I actually did bet him at 65-1. And, it's going to be a deal just like last year where both he and Shadur got off to great starts, great numbers, and then Hunter got hurt, and then the losses started piling up. But I figured at 65-1, it was worth a shot. I think he's still 50-1, which is the shortest priced non-quarterback right now.
They got to win 8 games, though, Bear.
I know.
Win the Heisman on a 5-win team.
Correct. I know they do. And I don't think they're going to be a 7 or 8 win team, but in case they are, in case the Big 12 is a complete crapshoot, like we think it's going to be, and somehow whatever's going on in Boulder, somehow it all works and comes together, and they actually gel, and all these new first-time coaches and all the transfers and everything. Like I remember about 6 weeks ago, I had someone who I really respect tell me that Colorado on paper had the best roster in the Big 12. Now, I know games are not played on paper, and you got to put together as a team. Yeah, I don't know if I believe that either. But again, look, and bets, like Will said, you don't think you're going to win. It's not going to win. But 65 to 1 on someone who could be the best player in college football, will be a top freaking 5 pick in the NFL draft next year. I mean, with the buzz and the allure of Colorado, you had Paul Hornig win a Heisman, what were they, 5 and 6 or something like that? The year he won it, Notre Dame, the name. Like, hey, look, it happens. Like, I bet Hunter at 65 to 1. I bet Jeremiah Smith at 150 to 1. I bet Julian Sayin, the Ohio State backup quarterback, probably at 100 to 1. And I know, Sammy, you said you don't want to bet the favorites. But now that Carson Beck, you can get him at 9 to 1, and he's drifted a little bit. Like, that might be worth the play. The guy's got so many weapons on offense. He's going to be on the number 1 or number 2 team in the country. Like, he's going to have those moments. Like, FanDuel has these like correlated parlays where you can bet Beck to win the Heisman and Georgia to win the national championship. Like, they're offering 20 to 1 on that. Like, the true parlay price would be like 35 to 1 if you take like the 3 to 1 on Georgia to win and 9 to 1 on the Heisman. So if you can find a place where you can play like parlays with like the Heisman winner and the national title and get 35 to 1 or so on that's not the worst bet in the world. So I threw out there Hunter is a long shot and Smith is a long shot. Like anyone else out there, guys, that might be not those 15, 20 to 1s on those guys in the top 10 on the board, is someone a little bit longer down the board that might attract your attention?
You don't have to tell us who said that Colorado has the best roster on the Big 12. I'm not going to ask you that, but how is Dion doing, and what else did he say to you?
Well, me and Dion, we go way back, and I was out when Joel did the Big Noon Conversations. I was right there with them. We all had a nice dinner out there in Boulders. But Dion tells me that I'm kidding, of course. I still have my Dion glasses from last year somewhere. I need to break those out.
Can I give you is 3,500 a long shot, or is that?
Yes. Absolutely long shot.
If Drew Aller is good this year at Penn State and they go 10-2, is he live for this? I mean, they have a new offensive coordinator from Kansas. We got to see more explosive passing game, but their schedule's not. I mean, they're going to be 10-2, 11-1.
They can't go 10-2 with a loss to Ohio State and him win. I don't think you can do it.
He got me last year. He can get you this year. I'm done with Penn State. I'm done. I'm just thinking someone else can have him.
But that's perfect. 10-2 gets you to the playoff.
I agree with that. I agree with.
Schedule's not tough either. They don't play a lot of the heavy hitters this year. Their schedule's a lot tougher next year. Franklin's probably going to be favored 11 times out of 12 games. So they'll go 11-1 because they always lose when they're dogs. That's what they've done since he's been there. And then what does James Franklin do? Oh, let's fire another offensive coordinator. Yeah, that'll fix it. Let me just bring in my 6th offensive coordinator. Go ahead, Bear. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, Sammy, I know you. I heard you the other day on Follow the Money, I believe it was. And you seem pretty high on Kansas. Like, is Jalen Daniels someone? I think he's like 35, 40, 45 to 1, somewhere around there. Like is he worth the shot? Because if Kansas is going to be good this year and in the Big 12, it's obviously going to be because of him, right?
If he can stay healthy, for sure. That's the one thing you have to stomach with Daniels. I do like their team. And look, they have a young quarterback from Indiana named Cole Ballard who's going to back up Jalen Daniels. He was the guy who came in last year when Jason Bean got hurt. And Ballard played pretty well against Kansas State. So I think they're going to be fine no matter who's the quarterback. Obviously, you prefer Daniels. This is a guy that has the entire kitchen sink back. And look, I just mentioned Andy Kotelnicki, who went from Kansas to Penn State. He's the offensive coordinator now for the Nittany Lions. Daniels has Devin Neal back in the backfield, who had 16 touchdowns last year and 1,280 yards. They brought back 3 senior receivers and 4 senior offensive linemen. Holy crap. I mean, that's like the whole kitchen sink. So I mentioned Jackson Dart off the top, a lot of returning talent. Same thing in Kansas. The only issue there is if he misses a game, guys. I was in Vegas last week. Great panel by Brett McMurphy and Bud Elliott. McMurphy made a great point. You miss a game, the odds are against you. The last Heisman winner that missed a game, Charlie Ward. That's a long time ago. Long time ago.
That is great. You know, and you mentioned Colton Nicky gone as well. Matt Lubick, who is a big part of their support staff and their coaching staff, he's now gone. I think he went to Nevada as an offensive coordinator. So not only do you have the actual coordinator, Colton Nicky gone, you got Lubick gone as well. So a lot of turnover on Lance Leipold's staff, even though he did choose to stay in Lawrence, which is a coup for KU. Bear Bets full episodes drop twice a week right here on the Bear Bets YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to stay ahead of the odds, and let's celebrate all of our wins together.